Hi, I want to talk about change. One thing that is relevant throughout the world right now with the changes that we are going through in our lives. For a person who is mostly used to being outdoors, they have to get used to being indoors most of the time. But now it's starting to change. For a person like me who has at least 30-40 people in front of me when I talk, when I take classes in the classroom, I have to get used to this change of talking to the camera, which was weird in the beginning, but I had to get used to the change. So I want to talk about dealing how we can deal with change, how we can flow with the process of big changes that happen in our life, and what are certain real practical ways that we can make this change process, the bridging process, a little easier process, right? Like a smooth flow. So this is in my opinion and experiences. Okay, I want to start off by sharing this beans love story of mine. When I was a kid, I thought I hate beans. I'll always hate beans because there was this one incident. I was given beans and it was salty, and at the corners of these vegetables, the beans, they have like a thread like thing that comes out of beans, right? They take it out, but that day they didn't take it out or something, so having that thread and the beans in my tongue, and it was salty and I hated it. Okay, this was when I was a kid. And I also have to tell my parents, my parents also would tell other people, oh, beans, don't give him beans, he doesn't like it. That create an identity within me that I will never like beans. I don't eat beans. That's just not my food. Until one day, much later, like this was in like at least 10 years ago, I had to eat beans because there was not much of option and I was very hungry, and I ate beans and it was very nice. I really loved it. There was no threads. It was very nice. And I started liking beans. From that day, I started having beans. There was no identity of disliking beans. So I want to say that this is one example of how we have different identities in our life, our habits and identities. And all these identities go to a common place, which let's call it the ego, right? The ego is the identity, the core identity. And we have different food identities. We have, hobby identities. We have relationship identities, what dislikes. We have the likes that we have. So we have different identities. But sometimes when it is put to a challenging situation where our identity is tested, either in the form of challenge through our health. For example, you might be loving something to eat, but if that you find out that is actually spoiling your physical health, then you'll have to give that up and then adapt to a new food habit. That is change, right? Now, if you're identified strongly with this food, then that change would be a difficult process. Now, similarly, let's come out of the food example of beans and other things and apply the same thing to different identities that we have in life. Let's say you like a person, and a person has his own identities, his or her own identities. We have our own ways of observing and judging a person. And from this core identity, we have different varieties of identities that we have. When a big change happens in life, like for example, in the current COVID situation, a lot of businesses, employees have to go through this process of rethinking about their profession itself, failing businesses, loss of opportunities, new opportunities coming up, and this is change, right? Some people see it as exciting, some people see it as a disaster, depending on the person's situation in life. But whatever the situation is, battery low. The best thing to deal with change, the first thing is to be in strong awareness of your identities first. When you know your own inclinations, your identities, and you have a strong reflection and awareness of yourself, then it is when certain big changes happen in life, then you will adapt yourself to the change, because it is not the external things that you can change, but it is changing yourself, right? I remember this quote. I don't know from where this is, but I just remember this, that it is better to put footwear to your feet rather than covering the pathway with carpet. Right? If the outcome is to protect your feet, then it is better to put shoes rather than cover the road or world with carpet wherever you walk. So similarly, when we talk about change, the first and the most important thing to understand is that what to change is us actually. Who should be adaptable? It is we who have to be adaptable to the change that happens on the outside. We can of course make some tweaks on the environment, the things that we want to change on the outside, but that should not be the first step. First step happens, change happens within us. And the best change that we can actually go through is to be open, is to be loose on the identities that we have, like not holding too tight on certain identities. I'll give this as an example in terms of relationships. Now imagine this. Just imagine life as a highway, okay? And you are just proceeding in your life, and you have a lot of people passing by you in their own life. And sometimes you meet people and then you hold on to their friendship, whatever relationship you hold on. Some people hold on too tightly, even after knowing that that person is not holding as tightly as you are holding, and you still hold on tightly, but that person wants to go away and you kind of lose your dignity and stuff. So that is not good, right? So this change has to happen because it's not good for you to stay in such a relationship, obviously. So it is with the fear that if you lose this, if you let go of this person, then I'll be lonely, because my identities of having this friendship with this person, friendship or relationship or whatever, was so deep rooted. I mean, the deeper you have this identity, the difficult it is to let go of the person. But it is not good for you and the other person to be in such a a pushy relationship, because just like the other person, both of you are going through change in life. The changes that happen in your life needn't necessarily be the changes that are happening in that person's life, the other person's life. So it really takes some deeper reflection to understand that this is a natural process. It is, at least in the times that we're living right now, in the current generation, our lives are so diverse in such a way that it is really hard to have this long lasting friendship. The reason of this happens is because the environment is stronger than the willpower, right? The environment means it can be related to the things around you, the society, you see the generation, the traits, the characteristic traits of generation right now is that we don't live in the same city the entire like for a long time. We shift to cities, different places, and then we have different places that we live in, we have different people that we meet. So change is something that happens naturally. So and we have our priorities. So the best way to go about in life, let me just continue with this relationship example, is you just keep walking and have your arms wide open, because if you are not open to relationships, then that is unnatural. Like you need people in life and stuff. So the best thing is to be open, but when you meet people, just to make sure that you don't hold tight, because relationship is a two-way thing. Whatever relationship, it is always a two-way thing. So when you know that you're holding on to a person on a mutual understanding, then that sustains longer. But when you see a friction happening in the relationship, be open to change, be open to let go. So, but the problem most people, I feel, do is, and myself included in the past, is once this happens, twice this happens, and thrice this happens, and they get little cold-hearted. They close their relationships. They kind of change their behaviors. They're They have certain block in their perception of, this is not going to work, and they get pessimistic about having a real loving relationship with people. So that is not healthy either. So this might be difficult, but really, if we try to apply this, just being open, at the same time not holding on to identities or people or anything for that matter, any identity too tightly. So those are just some thoughts that I wanted to share in this video. Just to recap, I just shared that getting the awareness of your inclinations and the identities that you have in your life, how did it start, and how tightly are you holding on to certain identities? And what if you let loose of certain identities and look up to certain changes in your life? You don't have to wait for changes to happen to you for you to be, showcasing adaptability as a skill. You can already be adaptable and see what are the things that you can already upgrade in your life. Expand your perceptions, expand your awareness, and be open to different things, whether in terms of your perception towards people, learning new things, whatever it is, your food habits. But it all has to be best for you, because what is best for you, what is best for another person needn't necessarily be best for you. So we have our own unique identities. So when we know our identities and when we can be open to different things, that actually makes us grow as a person, be more productive in life, then that is the best thing. So I hope this will make you reflect deep on your identities and make you think how you can scale yourself up in life, in all aspects of life, your profession, your relationships, your physical health, your mental health, and all these aspects. Change is always happening. I am sure that you'll be knowing this. You might have heard of the term that change is the only constant, change is everywhere, change is always happening. But practically, these are certain ways how you can flow with the process of life. Or like Bruce Lee says, be water, my friend.
Be formless, shapeless, like water. Be water, my friend.
But if you're a person who feels that you need help in becoming water so that you can flow with change in life, subscribe to this channel, because I will be rolling out content as a designation. I help people reflect deep on themselves, get the awareness, set their goals, and achieve them by being more productive on an everyday basis. And also share this with people who is going through change or whom you feel this might be relevant and it can be helpful for them. So do these. I will see you in the next video. Take care.